Good evening and welcome to the Supa-Liga Futsal Centre here for the final evening of futsal in the Men's Supa-Liga for 2025. Tonight we have two big matches, and the first match of the night is going to be Furia Futsal Club taking on the West Coast Cobras. Furia are currently seated equal with the Condors in last place on the ladder, and a win tonight or any points will give them a bit of space to try and stay out of that relegation zone, whilst the West Coast Cobras, a win here tonight will allow them to push that top two, putting a bit of pressure on them and also creating a buffer between fourth place Longabata, who are, after last night's result, 1 point behind them on the ladder. Whilst there is a ladder differential between these two teams, these two clubs have gone at each other a number of times in the last few seasons, and 3 of the 4 games have been very, very close, and they built up a bit of a rivalry. 2 of those were quarterfinals. 1 went to penalties and 1 went deep into extra time, where the Cobras managed just to get over the line in both. And most recently, earlier this season, it was a 3-2 victory for the Cobras against Furia. And as I said, despite the ladder differential, these two teams always seem to have tight, tough contests. So hopefully we get another tight one here tonight. As we move on through the team lineups, starting for the West Coast Cobras is Dexter Hard, number 9, Jake Pizzuto, number 4, Marco Florenka, number 8, and Flynn Nolan, number 20, with Tom Robles, number 1 in goals. And lining up for Furia to start off is number 43, Harry Beerley, Rowan Steed wearing the captain's armband today, number 9, Yatir Ayung in goals, number 40, Anas Mahmoud also out there. He is in the number 18, and rounding out the starting lineups is Sam Caminiti wearing the number 4. And we'll go through the benches as the game gets underway, but here we go. Jake Pizzuto finds Nolan now. He goes long to Florenka, back to Nolan, and you can expect the Cobras to really try and control possession in this game. Florenka now had Beerley to deal with. Still going. Steed holds up well. Florenka back to Pizzuto, now out wide to Nolan. Thought about hitting Pizzuto up at the back post. Goes to Florenka instead. Now uses Hard through, and almost Hard just wide left. He's had such an influential season. Right up there in the goal standings for the league. Leading the Cobras in goals by a substantial margin. As that ball bobbles around a bit, Pizzuto gets it out to Hard. Hard now takes his time, gets a shot off. And that one is wide right, but not a bad attempt, as Ayung will bring it back into play. And here he finds Steed. Steed back to Caminiti, and Robles will happily take that one and reset for the Cobras, as Nolan gets the Cobras going very patiently. Finds Pizzuto. Nolan and Pizzuto combine. And you can see quite a steady pace in this game. It looks like the ball seems to be flat, and players wanted the game to, or the ball in fact, to be taken off. But the call is to continue playing. We might get a stoppage later once this play does finish. Florenka out to Pizzuto. Now Pizzuto goes back to Nolan. Now Pizzuto again. Florenka, I think that was intended for Nolan. He'll go back to Pizzuto. Uses Hard now to his right. What can Hard create? Turns it over. Mahmoud. Now Beerley on the counter has Pizzuto to beat. And Pizzuto gets a boot in. With a big defensive block, stopping that shot. But they will win themselves a corner. Furia chance, and side netting off that shot by Harry Beerley. And Beerley have an impact here tonight, showing the power he does have in that right boot. And if that was on target, it would have troubled Robles. As Robles does bring it back into play through Nolan and now Pizzuto. Goes through the middle, now out wide to Nolan. Nolan to Florenka. Florenka's got a whole ton of space here. Tries to cut it in ball, but Beerley was waiting. Strong defensively. Hard. Florenka into Nolan. Back to Pizzuto. Pizzuto now steadies. Uses Hard in a dangerous spot in the middle, and that one's wide. And Flynn Nolan coming off a big goal that he did score last week. It was 3-3 against the Arkham Eagles, who overcame a 3-0 deficit And that's almost barely winning that contest there, but it ends up with Pizzuto now hard. But Flynn Nolan ended up scoring the goal to give them a 4-3 lead, which broke the deadlock, and the Cobras did go on to win that 5-3 last week. There's a shot by Harder. He tried to get it in there, and to no avail. Furia last week, whilst the Cobras did win, Furia did face a humiliation at the hands of Sterling Braza. Went down by double digits. And here's a chance for Nolan, inside and hard. Taps that in with ease. And just like that, the Cobras, 2.5 minutes it took them, and they've got the early lead. And Furia, as I mentioned, conceded, I believe it was 11 goals last week, and they will not want a repeat of that tonight, so they need to really lock down defensively. In fact, it was 11-2 last week, so a 9-goal defeat for Furia. And that was to Sterling Braza, who are in a similar spot on the ladder to Furia. This is a much tougher ask here tonight, and not the start they wanted.
How are we giving the ball like that? Why can't you just check it, mate? Just have a hole. Because they're all tested before the game.
And we're back underway. Caminiti now uses speed. Back to Caminiti. Good ball through the middle. Finds Beerley. Little kick over the top of his head. Ends up with Nolan Pizzuto. Gets to that and ends up finding Florenka, who can just keep it in. And the Cobras look to build again. Here's Florenka. Florenka going through the center of the court now, drifting off to the right. Tried to get that through to Pizzuto and did, but Jake Pizzuto couldn't control it. A difficult one to control. Here's a long ball by Caminiti, finds Beerley. Beerley, can he control it? He can't. And Florenka cleans it up. Uses Pizzuto, now Nolan. Now hard. Back to Pizzuto, and the Cobras look like they're in no rush. Happy to just play steady play. Just move the ball around, trying to stretch the defense of Furia. Hard. Tried to get it through to Pizzuto, couldn't. Beerley now on the counter. Can he equalise? Beerley does! And Furia get the immediate reply. The turnover. I think it was hard trying to get that through to Pizzuto. And that turnover results in Harry Beerley. As I'd mentioned earlier, he showed he had a lot of power on that earlier shot where he caught the side of the net. And just like that, he gets the opener for Furia. And now Pizzuto down the line goes out to Florenka. Florenka back to Pizzuto. And he'll combine again with Florenka. Now Nolan. He'll get a shot off, and he has a great shot for Nolan. That one, though, just wide left. Not a bad effort, though. As Ayung will bring it back into play. Steed. And that is what Furia needed. You don't want to go down 2 or 3 goals early against the Cobras, especially after what happened last week to Furia. So for confidence and momentum, that goal was so vital. As Noah Lummets is now on for the West Coast Cobras, wearing the number 25 here tonight. Pizzuto cuts to his right, gets a shot off, and that one's just to the left of Ayung. In fact, from his perspective, that'll be his right. But a nice cut inside by Pizzuto. Just unable to get that on target. Now Ayung, Steed. Steed to Caminiti, long high ball, and that will end up with Robles. He'll just let that go, you'd think, and he does. And just over 4 minutes gone in this opening half of the night. Robles to Florenka. Florenka now uses Lumet to his right, and now Pizzuto. And now they've got space. The Cobras, the Furia defense is seeming to play not very high, and it's giving the Cobras all sorts of time and space to move the ball around at will. But we will see if that strategy by Furia does pay off. Here is hard, gets it through to Lumet. This will take some sort of effort. And off his left, that's wide left. Now Ayung, long ball. And Mahmoud got a head to it, but couldn't get it in any sort of direction where his team could control it. Here is Florenka. Pizzuto. Good ball to hard. Florenka. Hard again. Now Noah Lumet. That goes to Pizzuto. Will he push it through? He gives it to Hard. Can Hard get a shot off? He almost did, but great defense there by Mahmoud. Now back to Pizzuto is Hard. Good ball to Florenka. Nice little leave. And they'll reset the Cobras. Tried to get that one through to Hard, Pizzuto. And that one gets it through to Florenka off the deflection. And Pizzuto now out wide to Lumet. Lumet back to Florenka. He has Pizzuto, uses Pizzuto. Pizzuto now can get a shot off here. He tried the back roll to Florenka, but not enough on it, allowing Mahmoud to get there. Marco Florenka there involved. There's Pizzuto, not enough on that. But Marco Florenka was just involved there, and he did make the team of the week last week for his performance against the Arkham Eagles. Can he have another strong performance here tonight? Here is Florenka, taking his time on Bealey. Hard with a shot, big save by Ayung. Steed now goes for the clearance, and that'll come off hard. Still 1 goal each in this game. Now Steed gets it through to Mahmoud. Back to Steed. And now Mahmoud's got, it's hit him in stride. That ball's lost. Hard ends up with it. Now Noah Lumet back to Dexter Hard. He has Pizzuto running deep. He might steady. And he does, going to Lumet. Back to Hard. And Jean-Jack Sion on for Furia, wearing the number 44. So just come on. Pizzuto just lost control of that, but manages to keep it in. Lumet now. Uses Pizzuto. Pizzuto now to Hard. And Hard will go to Florenka now. What will Florenka put together? Yes, Pizzuto there if he wants it. He goes that way. Great ball. Back to Florenka, and what a goal that would have been. Great bit of play by Florenka and Pizzuto combining. And if Florenka could have just kept that down, it was a big opportunity for the Cobras to take that lead back, as here is number 20, Flynn Dolan back on for the Cobras. As Hard comes off, and now Zephyr McPherson, number 12, will come on for his first minutes for the Cobras here tonight. Scoring a goal last week against the Arkham Eagles. As he moves towards that target position, here is Pizzuto, nice back roll, finding Lumet. Lumet now back to Pizzuto. He might go back to Lumet here. Instead he goes to McPherson. Can he turn his man? He'll end up going back to Pizzuto. Now Nolan, can he get a shot off? He should be able to, and the big block there made by Sion. Pizzuto back to Lumet. Lumet will get a shot off here, and another big save. This time by Ayung, and I think Zephyr McPherson with a shot there, wayward. But they're holding up well defensively, our Furia so far here tonight. But they are under the pump. The Cobras are off to a good start, controlling pretty much all the possession and the passing game, as well as the shots. As this will be reset. Here is Pizzuto. Nice bit of work there by Lumet to get it to him. Bealey under the pump by Pizzuto, and Bealey will lose it. It will be Pizzuto's ball. Pizzuto out to Lumet. Now Nolan. Back to Pizzuto. He has Lumet. He goes that way, and Lumet couldn't get the finish out wide right. He couldn't get the connection he was after. It was a great ball by Pizzuto finding him. He just caught the outside of his boot. Now a chance. Sion goes out to Bealey, but Pizzuto's there. And he will just clear that. But what a ball and opportunity. Gone begging for the Cobras, and can Furia make them pay? Here's Bealey. Nice shot, and just wide right though. Got a bit of space to get that shot off with Pizzuto defending. Took him down the line. Now Nolan and the Cobras get their chance to get that goal back. Got a few chances, but still scores are tied. Here's Nolan. Nolan to Pizzuto. Pizzuto uses Lumet. Lumet all the way to Nolan. That ball's got a bit of bounce on it. Pizzuto tough to control for him, but did okay in the end. But in that ball that he tried to find McPherson on, he was just out of McPherson's reach. And that ball's turned over. Lumet though, can't keep it. Nice work by Sion. Gets it to Steed. Steed loses it though. And Nolan will reset. Pizzuto high ball. Tried to get it to Lumet. And Furia to bring it back into play. A few complaints from the players saying the ball is flat. And the referees are not changing the ball at this moment anyway. And that ball will go out into touch. Pizzuto comes off for the substitution now. Florenka comes on. Florenka Also on for the Cobras is Joshua DeCane, the youngster. Now McPherson, Florenka, and the block's made by Caminiti. Still in though. And who will that last be off? McPherson was there, but it's going to last come off Caminiti, and the Cobras get a chance. That ball goes all the way through, finding Nolan. Nolan with a shot, big shot, and what a goal by Flynn Nolan. Unbelievable strike, and I mentioned earlier he has an unbelievable boot on him, and that ball finds the left post and bounces into the back of the net. You see that replay, what a strike by Flynn Nolan. 11 minutes to go now in this half, and the Cobras get the goal they were after to take the lead back. Caminiti now, out to Mahmoud, turns it over to Kane, couldn't find Florenka there. Mahmoud brings it back into Caminiti, long ball, ends up back with Robles, who lets that roll straight past him. Robles will bring it back into play. Here's Nolan. Will take his time coming off that unbelievable finish. Gives it to Florenka. Florenka to Nolan. Back to Florenka. Now DeCane. No, he goes Nolan instead. Florenka will get it back. Nice move. Brilliant bit of footwork. Chance for McPherson and just high. Needed to put that one on target there, did McPherson. But just got too far under it. But still the 2-1 lead for the Cobras. Here's a long ball, McPherson. In fact, Nolan gets a head in. Mahmoud there, McPherson defending. Here's a chance for Steed, and he's going to finish it. And Furia once again get the immediate reply. And they've done such a good job so far here tonight, Furia. The Cobras have seemed to control the possession, worked so hard to get their goal. And then both times that the Cobras have taken that lead, Furia have gone back, come out from that conceded goal and just immediately responded. And that one getting past Robles. Now Florenka. Can the Cobras get that lead back to Kane? Back to Florenka. Can he get that through to Nolan? It gets to him, but Nolan loses it, and that will be last off of Flynn Nolan, and Steed having an impact now. Head there by Florenka finding Robles, long ball. He heads to McPherson, can he turn around? He does! And what a chance, he just couldn't get anything onto the ball. Big air swing, I think he might have just clipped it, but not enough on it. Margiotta for the lead for Furia. And there is Charlie Margiotta, number 8, coming on for Furia. Almost the immediate impact. Here's Florenka, taking it all the way down the line. Beats Mahmoud, chance, Ayung there. Mahmoud that gets involved again, and that one is off McPherson, but great run by Florenka. Unable to finish. Here is Mahmoud, long ball, DeCane, Nolan, McPherson. Goes back, and it's going to end up all the way back with Robles. Robles now comes out off his line, uses Nolan. Nolan to DeCane. DeCane has a bit of time. What can he put together? He'll go to Florenka, into McPherson. Can he get a shot off? He does. And this time he got a good connection, but just not the accuracy he was after. And that one is high and right. Long throw by Ilm. Nice defensive play there by DeCane. Nice ball by McPherson, finding Nolan. Nolan tries to go back to McPherson. He finds him. Chance for McPherson, and it's in! And Zephyr McPherson puts that one away. And the Cobras get their lead back fairly quickly. And 3-2 is the score. And this was the score the last time these two teams played. And I don't think it's going to be the score here tonight, with still 9 minutes to go in the opening half. As Lachlan Ryan, I believe a late arrival, is now on for the West Coast Cobras, number 31. Pizzuto also back on for the Cobras. Bealey has also made the substitution on for Furia. Can he have an impact? He's already scored one. Steed tries to get past Hard, he can't. Ryan, Pizzuto, back to Lockie Ryan. And also one for the Cobras is Julian Millamachi. Pizzuto, dangerous. Does well to get it out to Hard. He's got all sorts of space. Here's Ryan if he goes now. Doesn't go that direction, might shoot himself. And the big block made. Could have probably gone earlier and found Ryan, but in the form that he's in, he has the license to go all the way himself and go for the shot. And that looks like it's going to be almost left by Pizzuto, but it'll keep it in. And now Milamachi cuts it in board. Now outside, has Caminiti defending, now uses Pizzuto. Pizzuto to Ryan, turns it over though, Pizzuto barely going all the way through and just too much on that ball. Tried to find Steed, probably could have shot that on his right and really tested Robles. That was a similar spot to where he got his first goal here tonight. And here is Pizzuto, Milamachi. Milamachi given a whole ton of space and he'll go all the way through and he might get a shot off. He tried to find Ryan in the end, but nice defense by Bealey. But a corner won by Julian Milamachi. He has Hard waiting and Hard will get to it, but loses it. In the end, it falls to Ryan. Ryan still loses it now. Margiotta takes off. Instead, Steed. Steed with Pizzuto defending. Steed, nice step over. And that will be last off Pizzuto. Defended well there. It will be a Furia ball. Margiotta. Won't be a corner, it'll be a side ball. Just a change of placement. Caminiti. Nice move, getting that one through to Margiotta. Using good footwork, but Pizzuto just clears that. And that might be last off Furia, it is. It looks like it's going to be a Cobras ball. Last off of Charlie Margiotta. And that will be a timeout. We will be back with you in about 50 seconds, so don't go anywhere. We're about to resume from the timeout. Bit of strategy being spoken by both teams. Furia trying to get that equalising goal. The Cobras trying to find a way to blow out this lead a little bit. Can they do that with not a whole lot of time left in the first half and an exciting rest of the first half to come? As the Cobras and Furia are just about to come out now. It'll be Pizzuto, Milamachi, Ryan and Hard for the Cobras, Bealey, Sion, Rowan Steed and Sam Caminiti on for Furia. Robles and Ayung in goals. Here's Pizzuto. Goes long down the line, finding Ryan, who just lost control of it, but keeps it in. Pizzuto now. He'll go to Milamachi. Hard. And here is Ryan, and you see the instruction by Coach Castro calling out there to Sion to watch the left foot of Dexter Hard. And he did well defensively, and there is that left. Can't get it through. That's Bealey on the defense. Steed might have to clear it, and Milamachi got in there. And it looks like it's going to be a Furia possession, is it? Rowan Steed to take. So far the goal scorers have been Steed with 1 for Furia. Bealey scored their opener. So they're the 2 goal scorers for Furia. It has been Flynn Nolan, Dexter Hard hitting the scores for the Cobras, as well as Zephyr McPherson. Here's Ryan, gets it through. Milamachi will get there, and he could have just squared that up. Pizzuta was waiting. But a nice run there made by Milamachi. Long ball, Ayong. Steve, can he get a shot off? Nice little flick, but too much on it. Ends up in the hands of Robles. Hard. Already a much improved performance by Furia compared to last week, taking it right up to the third place Cobras. Hard to Pizzuto. Sion defending, back to Hard now. Goes Pizzuto. Pizzuto ends up with it again. Now Hard. Back to Pizzuto. Pizzuto back to Hard. And he takes a shot. And big save there by Ayung. As Ryan will take the corner. Ryan to Pizzuto. Pizzuto with a shot, and the block made there by Sion. Hard will take 6 minutes and just over remaining. Pizzuto back to Hard. Now Sugar back to Pizzuto, you'd think. He does. Leads him onto the ball. Did well there, Hard. Pizzuto, nice feint. Goes back to Milamachi. Milamachi to Pizzuto. Pizzuto might take a shot. He'll instead go out right. Finding Lockie Ryan. Sion there on the goal line. Stopping that back post for Jake Pizzuto. Long ball. Ending up, bit of collision. Hard and Robles got confused. Beerley, can they make them pay? Sion, and that would have found the back of the net. But a big block made. They're still alive here. Furia Steed. And that one's wide. And collision there, and a bit of a miscommunication by Hard and Robles, almost proving costly. And as well on that occasion, it was Pizzuto letting that one go through his feet. Turnover, giving Furia the ball back. Mahmoud. Here's Sion, defended very, very tightly, strongly by Ayub Kire, who is now on for the Cobras for his first minutes. Here's Kire. Kire almost loses it, still going, manages to stay on it, now loses it. Sion can't keep possession. Kire involved, goes down. Now Beerley, defended by Lummett. Beerley tries to take on Lummett. Lummett there, and he loses it, Beerley. Great defense there by Noah Lummett. Kire, Pizzuto. Pizzuto waiting for Hard to present. Now he goes that way. Just wide right of Hard, and I think Hard wanted the call for holding. Probably prevented him from getting out to the ball. Here's a long ball by Steed. Lummett got a touch in there, as did Kire. Lummett now back to Pizzuto. Pizzuto to Kire. Kire almost loses his footing. Lummett, Hard. Can he get a shot off? He can. And wide right, Pizzuto was lurking. It looks like a timeout will be called. So there are 4.5 minutes to go in this first half of futsal. Just a shout out to the player of the round from last week. That was Raul Pereira. In fact, that was against Furia. So Furia will be looking to not allow player of the round performance to come out of the Cobras here tonight. He had 4 goals and 1 assist, had a great performance in what was a must-win game for Brazza. So high pressure performance there by Raul Pereira. And looking at the ladder, it is very interesting. Currently, Cumbria sitting on 30 points. They are playing tonight, but they're on 30 points at the moment. Inter are on 28, but they have a game tonight as well. So don't leave your seats once this game finishes, because we have Inter Perth taking on South Perth Alliance. And whilst, once again, there are a difference in ladder positions, South Perth, you'd think are a lot better than the ladder suggests, and they're in some good quality form. So that's going to be a great game. And if the Cobras can win here in this one, they'll get within 2 points of Inter, who would in fact have 2 games in hand before tonight's game is played. So if Inter can win out their remaining games for the season, they will finish on top. It's a very interesting ladder. It's so tight through the middle, and it's going to be so exciting in the new year to see which teams make a push for that top 6, which teams can't handle the pressure. and which teams are going to be fighting over that relegation. And you do not want to be relegated. And right now, Furia and the Condors are facing that reality. And here is Mahmoud. There's a long ball, ends up with Tom Robles. He'll let that go, and the Cobras can reset. Robles rolls to Pizzuto. Pizzuto to Kire. Kire now. Lumet. Back to Pizzuto. He'll reset to Lumet. Now Pizzuto will get it back again. Kire on that far flank. Goes through. Finds McPherson, and he tried that bender, but started too far out to the right. Couldn't work it back enough. Now it's Furia's turn to respond. They've done it all game so far, Furia. Can they get one back and equalise going into the halftime break? Robles will take now. Pizzuto now. Goes long to Lumet. Now Kire. Kire to Pizzuto. Lumet again. And they'll just do this all day, the Cobras. They love to move the ball around. Here's McPherson. Pizzuto. Back to McPherson. Here's space. He'll just go straight back to Kire. Kire to Pizzuto. Now Lumet. Pizzuto to McPherson. That ball goes out with that broadcast flank. Lumet now brings it in from the side. Pizzuto gets it. Back to Lumet. Now Kire. Pizzuto again. Pizzuto to Kire. Back to Pizzuto. They're trying to spread the defense. Kire moves out, giving McPherson space, and just a touch on Kire wasn't there for him. Pizzuto gets a boot in. Is that going to avoid the roof? It does. Lumet, brilliant piece of skill. Pizzuto will keep it in now. Cut it back to the middle with Marjotta defending. And Pizzuto does brilliantly to find Lumet. Lumet now takes off, cuts it back. Pizzuto's got space now. And he gets horizontal on Marjotta again. Kire, long ball and just high. And we'll see a long ball, or will Furia try to build it slowly here. Sam Kamanidi. Goes to Mahmoud, back to Kamanidi, long ball. Marjotta there, and Pizzuto will let that roll straight out. Robles to Florenka. Pizzuto back to Florenka. Not enough on that there by Pizzuto. Now the turnover. Steed gets it through, and Pizzuto just clears and apologises to Florenka while he's at it. And only a 1-goal lead for the Cobras despite all the passing game that they control, but they've got to find a way to progress it forward and create more opportunities to put Furia away. And Furia just need to make the most of their chances when they do come, because they will come. As you've seen, the Cobras have made some mistakes throughout the game. Florenka to Nolan, now Pizzuto. He'll go to Nolan, and that's just out of his reach. Furia can't get that through. Marjotta couldn't keep up with that ball from Mahmoud. Now Florenka for the Cobras. Here is Florenka out to Pizzuto. Pizzuto gets it through. McPherson turns his man, gets a shot off. Big block there by Sam Kamanidi. Big sliding block, and it was needed to be made. There's a turnover. I don't know what that was by Florenka and Nolan. Steed with a shot. Robles with a save. Pizzuto just clears. I have no idea what was going on there. Another miscommunication there from the Cobras. And it gives now a chance for Mahmoud to try and work something here. G's on now as well for Furia. Chance, and that might have found the bottom right. Another chance. Robles with a big save. Involved with Mahmoud, and the ball will end up in touch, but still with Furia. Just over a minute remaining in the half. It's been a pretty intense half of futsal. The Cobras have played a fairly slow game. That's earned them a 1-goal lead. Coming in with a long ball, and G gets a head on it, or in fact a better body. It will be Cobra's possession now. Robles to Nolan. So that will start the play now. A minute to go in this first half of futsal in the second last game of the Supa-Liga for 2025. Hard to Nolan. Nolan's got space. Defended by Mahmoud. Nolan's still going. Big save by Ayong. And the Cobras did have a 3-goal lead in, as I mentioned, last week's game against the Arkham Eagles, and blew that lead to be 3-all before they did kick away. So the Cobras will be very wary of that. It has happened a few times this year where they have blown leads. They cannot afford to do that here tonight. Here's the turnover. G with a long ball, finding Mahmoud. Pajota getting the defensive lead, but G keeps going. And Florenka in the end clears. In fact, wins that tackle.
Hey, ref, last week that was a yellow card in the other game. You know what I mean? Every week's a different thing.
Looks like referee not too happy with Keith G. Neither was G. Or in fact, it's Marco Florenka getting a talking to. And that ball is wayward of everyone. And Nolan for the Cobras with 38 seconds to go. Pizzuto. Florenka gets through to Hard. Hard now. Turns it over. G's there. Big, strong use to the body. Nolan goes back to Robles and they'll hit the roof. And all of a sudden, Furia are putting the Cobras under a bit of pressure. Mahmoud. Back to Kamanidi. That's right. Big dive by Robles, not required in the end. Florenka and Nolan combined there. Florenka to Hard. Hard gets it to Florenka. And nice defense there by Steed. Chance. And almost the 4th goal of the evening for the Cobras. Still 2.8 seconds to go, still time. And it will be taken on that far flank by Pizzuto. Pizzuto has Nolan. Nolan with a shot. Pizzuto now with a shot. Save made, and that should do us for the first half. There will not be enough time to finish this off. So 3-2 will be the lead for the West Coast Cobras. As I mentioned, 3-2 is the lead. It's been a tight game. It was goal for goal, and in fact, it's been goal for goal for the whole game. Cobras have always had that 1-goal lead. Furia have equalised. Can Furia equalise in this second half? Find out after this short ad break.
Futsal WA has social futsal competitions 5 nights a week, Mount Lawley and West Perth. Whether you're an individual or have a group of mates who want to play, there's a junior, men's, women's or mixed competition that will suit you. Contact us to get involved in futsal, an action-packed sport and the fastest growing sport in Australia.
And welcome back for the second half here tonight. 3-2 the lead for the Cobras. And that ball will end up with Robles, who clears. But as I mentioned earlier, there's something about these two teams. These two teams seem to match up quite well, and always their games seem to go down to the wire. Will we see that again here tonight? Bealey can't get it through. Nolan, I think Bealey was calling for the handball, not called. Hard now. Out to Florenka. Florenka down the line. Thinks about the shot. Now on the second, he tried to find the back post. No one there though. Bealey cleared, and Nolan absolutely hammered that, but wide. And Nolan, we've already seen what he can do here tonight, and almost put one through again. And Bealey almost there. Robles though does well. Here is Nolan using hard. Hard defended by Mahmoud. He will go to Lummett. Lummett now to Nolan. Nolan gives it back to Lummett, who made a nice run. Nolan again, nice spin, gets to his left. Now turns it over. Bealey down the line, and Nolan gets a boot in. But Furia will get the ball. Here is Mahmoud. Mahmoud to Kamanidi. Kamanidi, long ball. Can he get it to Bealey? He can. Bealey, he has a runner. Cuts it back in, but turns it over. Nolan. Bealey wins it back. Still going, Bealey. And that is cleaned up by Tom Robles. Hard brings it up now. Hard. Cuts it in. Goes to Nolan. Nolan with a shot, and the save there by Ayung. Dangerously, almost went through his legs. Long ball. Nolan gets a left boot up. In fact, that was Florenka. Nolan in the vicinity as well. And Steed now to bring it back into play for Furia, or in fact it might be Bealey to take. He will. Big shot, and just over the head of Robles and the goals. And this will be now Nolan bringing it up. Here is Florenka using hard. Now Lummett. Defended by Bealey. Goes back to hard. Now out to his right. Florenka can have a shot. Decides against it. Uses Nolan, who loses it, but ends up fortuitously back with Lummett. And now hard. Florenka thought about the shot. Nice feint. Chance for Nolan, and that shot way high. But did well to get a shot out of that. And Nolan has shown that from that exact distance earlier in this game, he managed to beat Ayung. Steed under pressure. Mahmoud. Now Bealey. Bealey loses it. Nolan. Florenka gets it to Lummett. Lummett through to Nolan. Nolan's got space. Mahmoud gets there. Tries to take him down the line, does Nolan. Goes back to Hard. Hard thinks about the shot. Great defense by Bealey. And then Hard ended up on his right foot, and he couldn't get the shot off. And that Lummett shot was out to the right. You can tell that Furia are trying to stop the left foot of Dexter Hard. He ended up on his right on that occasion. Here's a long ball. Sion. Bit of a wrestle. Florenka goes down. It goes into the touch, and it will be brought back in now by Mahmoud. And Furia have a chance to equalise. Mahmoud has Kamanidi waiting. He goes for the shot, and just wide right, and Sion probably could have almost got something on that, but just out of his reach. As Pizzuto comes on for the Cobras. Sion was the substitution that was made just a few moments ago for Furia. Pizzuto now brings it through the centre. Lummett and Pizzuto combine. Now Ryan. And no one there on that occasion on that Ryan ball. The Kane also on for the Cobras. Here is Kamanidi. Finds Steed, long ball. Gets it to Sion over his head and straight into the crowd. And Pizzuto will take. DeCane. Back to Pizzuto. Pizzuto directs DeCane. Ryan. Lummett. And caught Lachlan Ryan's boot on the way through to DeCane. Can Sion get there? No. Cleared by Robles on that occasion. He probably almost could have left it. I don't know if that was off of Furia. Not 100% sure, but in the end he just cleared it. Safety first. And Mahmoud now will take. Mahmoud Kamanidi with a shot deflection there, and that'll be off DeCane. And a chance for Furia. And really, both of Furia's goals kind of came out of nowhere. So the Cobras need to be alert. They don't want to concede another equaliser for the third time. Chance, and what a save by Robles. Almost took him out there. Steed with a massive shot, and what a save by Tom Robles. Just putting his body on the line. And also a great connection. Steed was on target. Chance for Kamanidi. DeCane, big block. Steed to Bealey. Bealey tries to get it through. Pizzuto there though, and he'll clear. Kamanidi. Bealey. Bealey to Steed. Steed, that's going to end up, he thought he kept it in for a moment, but he didn't. Now Pizzuto again. Played a lot of minutes here tonight, Jake Pizzuto. He finds Joshua DeCane. Now Lummett. Lummett back to Pizzuto. And he'll try and find that back post. And Ryan wasn't quite there. Now Ayung will take in goals. He'll give it to Sion. Sion with a long ball out of the reach of the target, Bealey. See Lachlan Ryan defended by Kamanidi in that target position. And they get it long to him on this occasion. Lummett. He'll go to Pizzuto. Pizzuto to Lummett. DeCane leaves that for Pizzuto. Pizzuto defended by Sion. He'll go back to Lummett. Now DeCane. Lummett. Pizzuto. Will he try and find Ryan now? Not yet. He finds DeCane. DeCane with a shot. And the shot was wide left, but worth a shot there from the youngster. And this will be a Furia possession. No deflection there. It'll be taken by Ayung in goals. You think he'll go to Bealey. In fact, he goes long. Can Sion get there? Sion controls it well. Keeps it in. Bealey. Now he loses it. 2-on-1. Ryan. Lummett. There should be a goal. And it is. Ryan gets the tap in the end. And the West Coast Cobras take a 2-goal lead. And they put that together brilliantly. Thought Lummett had a shot, but he was intending to find Ryan at that back post. And Ryan worked hard to get there and finished it off. No problems. 2 goals, the lead for the Cobras now. Here's a chance now. Immediately, Bealey. And almost a lapse in concentration, immediately costing the Cobras. Pizzuto to Ryan. Back to Pizzuto. Now the 2-goal lead, I'm sure, well, that's the first time any team has had more than a 1-goal lead in this game, so I'm sure the Cobras will be feeling a bit more comfortable now. Pizzuto gets a shot off, and that's right.
1 inch already! 1 inch! 1 inch straight away!
I think Lummett on that goal was trying to chip the keeper, but he got it into a dangerous position enough and ended up finding Ryan. Here is Bealey. Pizzuto there, and that will go out. It'll be a Furia ball. Kamanidi. Long ball, out of the reach of everyone. And Robles is there. Robles now. Robles to Ryan, who steadily takes the ball up. Now gives it to Pizzuto. Pizzuto, and they've got all the time in the world. They're playing quite deep. Very deep are Furia playing. They've been doing it all game, and it's given the Cobras a lot of space. Pizzuto. He'll find Ryan. Can he get that to McPherson? He can. Playing quite slow. Can they find a hole? Here's DeCane. DeCane through to Ryan. Can he get a shot off? A bit heavy on that touch. And in the end, Steed was there close enough to force that shot by Ryan to go wide.
Set up! Use it to set up! Use it to set up!
That callback, will that give the Cobras more time to set up defensively? Can Furia work her way through that defense? Long ball. Pizzuto and Bealey. Pizzuto leaves that. That will be a Robles possession. Pizzuto to Dexter Hard. Hard on his left, finds Pizzuto, back to Hard. Now to McPherson, and that's out of his reach. And Furia get a chance now to get that goal back. That'll be off McPherson. Steve might have got a touch in, but Milamachi was last. Chance Bealey. Chance Bealey still got past Pizzuto in the end, and somehow that chip just sailed wide and high. And Robles down. And hopefully all is okay. Just a small break in play here. As I mentioned earlier, it will be Inter Perth Futsal Club later tonight, going head-to-head with South Perth Alliance in a game that has big ladder ramifications, not only at the top of the ladder with Inter, but also with South Perth trying to continue their rise and push for that top 6 spot. Hard to Pizzuto. Pizzuto, long ball, gets to McPherson. McPherson tries to turn his man. He did, got the shot off, but block made. And in the end, needing to be cleared by Mahmoud.
Shake, balance.
Here's Milamachi. Here's to Hard with a shot, and that is going to not find the back of the net, and it's back with Ayung. Long ball, and they're off Furia. The Judah will clear though. Also missing Sashal and Nadasan from this Furia lineup. He was sent off last week with a red card. I think it was 2 yellows. It may in fact have been a straight red. Not exactly sure, but he's definitely out this week as a result of that suspension against Sterling Braza. Is now Hard. Milamachi. Milamachi back to Hard. Now McPherson. Gets it to Milamachi. Nice couple, bit of footwork. Ends up finding McPherson does Hard, pressured by Margiotta. He'll lose it, McPherson. Steve, Mahmoud, long ball, chance for Margiotta. Can he get anything on it? He can somehow keep it in. Looked like it may have been in, but the call is that he was just not quick enough at getting to that ball. Here's a chance now for Pizzuto. He'll go out to Milamachi. Back to Pizzuto. Through Milamachi, couldn't control it. Or in fact, it was well defended. And the Cobras will have a chance still. 12.5 minutes remaining in this opening game of the night. Pizzuto now out to Hard. Hard beats his man, beats Mahmoud. Inside chance from McPherson. Couldn't keep it on target. Pizzuto playing a bit of that fixer role today. Ryan McPherson, and also hard at times playing the target role for the Cobras. That ball's lost by Furia. Now, Pizzuto to Milamachi, hard. Back to Pizzuto. He'll go to Milamachi, will he? Or will he try to get to McPherson? He does try. Just out of his reach. That ball was. Here's a long ball and Robles will just leave. And still the 2-goal lead for the Cobras, but a goal for Furia would really change the complexion of this game. Pizzuto goes to hard. And that ball is going to sail over everyone from Milamachi. Mahmoud to Kamanidi. Kamanidi cuts it inside. Milamachi there. Still Kamanidi. Does brilliantly. Gets it to Mahmoud, but he turns it over. Hard. Mahmoud. Hard still there. Now Steed. Cuts it into the middle. And Margiotta goes down. No foul called. Much to the chagrin of Margiotta and the Furia coach. Now Pizzuto gets it through. Chance for hard. Back to Pizzuto. Can't get anything on the shot. Florenka. And Margiotta gets a boot in there.
Are you in your fucking thirds, man? Come on.
Florenka. Nolan, Kire. Florenka through. Hard was nowhere near it though. Chance, but Margiotta couldn't get to it. Robles. Nolan. Pressured by Margiotta. Now Florenka pressured by Mahmoud. Florenka cuts through the middle. Out to Kire. Kire to hard. He's got all sorts of space. Can he take on Kamanidi? Will he attempt to get through the legs of Kamanidi? Chance! And Nolan almost. But the nutmeg there almost resulted in a goal, but it didn't. Now Steed. Long ball. Might have been a deflection there off that Margiotta boot. Straight off of Florenka. And it'll be brought in from the sideline. Mahmoud to Kamanidi. Kamanidi with a big shot. And almost dropped in. But high in the end. A surprisingly powerful boot at times, that's Sam Kamanidi. That ball just seemed to... Felt like it was going way higher, but almost dropped in somehow. Now Kire. To Florenka. Florenka to Nolan. Nolan using hard. Back to Nolan. What a goal that would have been. And a brilliant bit of play, and you'll see on that replay, and a big save made.
Set it up early.
But that right there is the Cobras ball movement at its finest.
Set it up early.
And the Cobras will get this play set up.
Timing though, timing.
Kire to take the corner. Kire to hard. Hard with the shot. Almost missed the ball completely. Florenka with the deflection. Back to hard. Hard out to Kire. Back to hard. Hard, can he finish it? He can't. So close to getting his second of the night. But Ayung managing to dive onto it and stop that certain goal.
We're not talking, mate.
Deflection there, Kire out to hard. Hard, will he get a shot off? And a save made by Ayung. Gets it to Bealey. Bealey, can he get a shot off? And big save by Robles, a certain goal. Getting his right boot up there, as you'll see on that replay. Here's a chance. Florenka ends up with it. Loses it. Bealey, saved by Robles. And the Cobras survive. Can that get through? It might. It doesn't. Florenka out to hard. Hard back to Florenka on the counter. Can they keep going? Almost through to hard, but Bealey getting a boot. And Furia now putting the Cobras defense under a bit of pressure. The timeout will be called by the Cobras in just a moment. There's no one there on that ball there from G. And Cobras coach not happy at all with the defence currently being played by the Cobras. And with 9 minutes and just over remaining in this first half, it's a 2-goal lead to the Cobras. And welcome back. Very passionate timeout speech there by John Goodlich. Will the Cobras come out fired out? A few substitutions made. And the emphasis of that talk seemed to be a lot on the defensive aspect of the game, because especially over this last few minutes, a lot of holes have opened up and Furia have had a lot of chances, which very easily, if not for the heroics of Tom Robles, could very easily be right back in this game, if not in front. Lummett to Nolan. Now to Pizzuto. Pizzuto through. And couldn't quite get it through, but not a bad attempt. Last off of Steed. Just under 9 minutes now remaining with 2-goal lead for the Cobras. Chance for Ryan, and he can't keep it down. And we'll find out now if they can set up defensively here, the Cobras. Here is Caminiti. Long ball ends up with Robles. Ryan to Lummett. Can he get that through to Pizzuto? He can't. Bealey there. G making a move. The Cobras get back strong defensively. Bealey, Pizzuto. And almost somehow finding the goals there. And just a bit of discussion, a bit of confusion. And it will be a Cobra possession. Robles, Nolan, Pizzuto. Pizzuto to Ryan. Pizzuto making the run. Can Ryan find that back post, or he might take it himself? He'll go back to Nolan. And now Lummett combining with Nolan a couple times here. As G gets a boot in. And Nolan will take it from the sideline. Lummett uses Pizzuto. Nolan back to Jake Pizzuto. Now Ryan, what can they draw up here? He'll go to Flynn Nolan. And they'll reset. Ryan inside to Lummett. Back to Pizzuto. Now Lummett again. He'll go to the back post. Pizzuto with a head. And almost. Probably needed to keep it down. But not a bad effort. Just the execution made it difficult for the head. As it'll be brought back in now by Furia. So they did well there, creating an opportunity. Now G. Can Furia work themselves back into this game? Defended by Lummett. G. It's going to be a Furia possession. G through. Steed. Under the pump of Ryan. Shot by Caminiti and never looked likely. But Furia have 7.5 minutes to rectify this situation and get back into this game. Pizzuto from the sideline brings it in. He'll go through to Ryan. He can't control it. It was a bit out of his reach. Ryan with a shot. And side would work on that. 7 minutes and just over left. Here's long ball, Pizzuto. Heavy touch on that intercept. Here's Steed doing well. Gets it out to Sion. Sion still going. Can he keep it? He can't. Pizzuto gets it through to Ryan. Sion comes flying in brilliantly for his team. Now Billy, can he turn Lumet? He can't. But it looks like a foul will be called, will it? It looks like it will be called, and it will be Kamaniti's possession. Kamaniti, Steed, Sion, high ball, and sails past everyone. Still 2 goals the lead. 7 minutes remaining, as I mentioned a few times. Furia can get back into this game. They just need the next one. Hard to Lumet, now Pizzuto. He will go to McPherson. Now through to Hard. Hard through to Lumet. A lot of space for Lumet. Back to Pizzuto, and they'll reset, but they're working their way through this defense. And Furia are also holding up fairly strongly. Hard, big shot blocked by Sion. Cobras will maintain the ball. Pizzuto to Lumet. He has the run of Pizzuto. He'll cut inside. He'll take the shot. Save made. Long ball by Ayung. And just out of the reach there. Not far off Steed. And they just need to find somehow a way to beat Robles here. Furia, and the game opens up. Pizzuto to Lumet. Now Hard. Back to Pizzuto. Pizzuto gets it through. Almost to McPherson, but Ayung gets in the way. Steed. Back to Kamaniti. That'll be cleared, and the Cobras will take it back. Pizzuto. Through to McPherson, turns his man. Can he get a shot on the left? He can, and forces the corner ball. Big play. And he put just enough on it to force Ayung to not be able to hold on to it. And Pizzuto will take the corner now. Goes to Lumet. Lumet with a shot, and it might almost deflect in. It doesn't. Ayung, long ball, that'll be out of the reach. And Lumet clears. Probably could have left it, but still did well to clear. And with 5.5 minutes remaining, 4-2 is the lead for the Cobras. And a lot of time still remaining for Furia to get back in the game. And another timeout here for both teams to work out some strategy, see if they can find a way through the defense. And I think even though the Cobras obviously would be happy with the 3 points, they'd want to try and, from their perspective, extend the lead out as much as possible. Goal difference is always important for Furia. Getting a point would be crucial for their hopes of, at least for the short term, staying out of the relegation zone. And potentially, you never know if they can get on a bit of a run in such a tight season. The top 6 is not unachievable for Furia. But their focus anyway for the time being will be on getting back into this game. And they've got about 5 minutes to go. And we are live here from Subiaco Futsal Centre. 4-2, still the lead. And it looks like they're about to bring it back into play here, Furia. Can they find a way through the defence? We're about to find out. Beerley. In fact, it's going to go to Kamaniti. He'll go out to Beerley. Back to Kamaniti. Nice defence by Hard. Goes all the way through. And Robles will happily let that go straight past him. And Robles will take. And Pizzuto now. Uses Florenka. Now Lumet. Lumet back to Florenka. Pizzuto on that far flank. And the Cobras trying to find a way through what has been a pretty strong defence for the most part here, Furia. And as is on that occasion, long ball And Robles will take. Lummett. High ball, and that's going to go out.
Dexter, to your left, to your left.
And it looks like Steed will take. Long ball, Pizzuto with the intercept. Now Lummett. Out too hard. Gets it to Jake Pizzuto. He'll take off. He'll give it to Floric. A nice back heel and just out of the reach of Pizzuto. But a brilliant bit of play almost coming off. Long ball, Beerley. Can't get it past Lummett. Now Pizzuto gets it in ball. Good ball. Finds Lummett. Couldn't get a boot on it. Chance now on the counter for Sion. Florenka. We'll just let that roll all the way back into defence. And the Cobras will reset. We'll take his time here for Florenka. Almost a stop in play. But the clock keeps ticking. And there's no need for the Cobras to rush. The Furia defence have played quite low, as I mentioned, and given the Cobras that space. But so far, Cobras haven't really been able to break through it a lot. Chance here. Florenka tried to get it to Pizzuto, couldn't get it to him. He'll end up with it now, Florenka. Lummett, Florenka, turnover, Beerley. Beerley now. Beerley with a shot, and so close. What a save by Robles. That was finding the bottom right. Chance on the corner. Block made. Long ball by Pizzuto. In the end, cleared. Deflection. And Lummett will take from the sideline. Florenka. Lummett. Pizzuto. 3 minutes to go. Hard. A goal for the Cobras might seal it. Can't get it through. Hard gets it back. And he'll steady. And he'll now go out to Jake Pizzuto. Into Florenka. Florenka tried to find Pizzuto at the back post. Beerley with the block. Three minutes remaining. Hard to Florenka. Beerley now takes off on the counter. Big save again there by Robles. And he's been caught on to make a number of saves in this game, especially in this last 5 or 10 minutes. Chance! Saved by Robles. Beerley again with a chance. And that is going to hit side netting. Is there a deflection in there? Wasn't. Furia have been taking off on these counterattacks a number of times and almost punishing the Cobras. Beerley there, a bit of a speed demon in these last really 3 or 4 minutes, has been just taking off with a bit of sneaky speed. And here is Florenka.
We're back now. We're back.
Chance here. Here's a chance for Sion. Getting back is McPherson, brilliantly on defence. I mentioned speed demon earlier. That was McPherson on that occasion, taking off and getting there. Beerley, and did that catch a bit of crossbar? Somehow avoided the back of the net. Still a chance. Ball bubbles around. Can Sion finish it? Sion! Saved by Robles. And somehow the Cobras are still holding on. Nolan out to Pizzuto. Pizzuto with a shot. No, it will go back. Now Florenka into McPherson. Pizzuto to Nolan. Nolan ball bobbles around Beerley. Beerley takes off again. Can they get that goal back? Florenka on the counter. Out to Nolan, all sorts of space. 2-on-1, 3-on-1. They have to finish this, and they don't. Wasted opportunity there. Nolan couldn't get it to his target. Now Caminiti takes off. In fact, that's Steed. Still going Steed, he loses it. Florenka out to Nolan. Nolan, can he get a shot off? He'll lose it. Cleared up there by Mahmoud. And Steed now. Steed with the long ball, finding Margiotta. And McPherson gets a defensively chance for Mahmoud. Mahmoud! And couldn't get that toe poke around far enough. And it will be a corner, will it? Looks like a deflection was called. And a minute 10 for 2 goals for Furia. That is the equation. We have seen funnier things in futsal. Chance, Margiotta can't get a head on it. Another chance for Steed. Block, I think it was by Hard. Steed's got a chance still. Mahmoud and nowhere near it, and they needed to do better there, Furia. They are putting the Cobras under the pump, but right now the Cobras are holding firm. Robles to Pizzuto. Pizzuto long ball, gets it through to Hard, does well to control it. And McPherson tried to find Nolan, but nowhere near him really. 55 seconds remaining in this game of futsal. Long ball, Bealey and Pizzuto. Bealey with a flick up and the shot! Saved by Robles. That would have been some sort of goal. Long ball now by Robles. Ends up straight into the breadbasket there of Ayung. Steed. Bealey with a shot, and is that in? No, somehow. Robles got enough on it to hit that ball up into the crossbar.
Discipline.
Unbelievable, it's just not finding the back of the net for Furia. Can Steed get past Hard? He can't. Cleared by McPherson, and you think that's going to be enough for the Cobras. The Cobras did control them first, really probably 30 minutes of this game. Maybe 25 minutes at least. But Furia have had a lot of opportunities, especially in this last 7 or 8 minutes. Here's a long ball, finding Margiotta. Can he turn Hard? He's still going Margiotta. Body work by Hard. Hard wins it, and he'll just take it to the corner. Margiotta tries to win it off him. He does win it off him. In comes McPherson. Down goes Hard. And Steve not happy with Hard. And a bit of an altercation going on in that far corner now. And all sorts of drama going on at Subiaco. And I didn't think there was a whole lot in it. It did appear that he did go in to get the ball. And Margiotta went down. But it's getting pretty aggressive over there now. And now things are getting out of hand. And with 4.7 seconds to go, it's going to be a Cobras victory. And Castro, the coach of Furia, not happy. A bit of an altercation with some of the players. Obviously, such an important game for both clubs, and both teams getting quite heated at this point in the game, and it's gone in! And Furia have 3 seconds to somehow force a turnover and to get an equaliser. It's going to take a miracle, but that was the first step, and they're going to press like there's no tomorrow. Here's McPherson. And they're going to all take off here, Furia. 3.3 to go. A goal the margin. McPherson. And He's going to force the Furia players to run. And now he goes all the way. Hard's there. He'll go long. And the West Coast Cobras are going to come out of this dramatic, pretty unbelievable game of futsal. They're going to hold on. And despite being under a whole lot of pressure for really the last 10 minutes of that game, it's a great victory for the Cobras, and the Furia Futsal Club can take a lot of solace out of that performance, especially after last week. Thank you for watching here tonight. We'll be back very shortly with a huge game coming up into Perth, taking on South Perth Alliance, and we'll just get the stats up in just a moment, so don't go anywhere.